Well, it's that time again. Let's walk in faith, talk about anime, and grow together. Welcome to Rev's Otaku Talk. Hey Otaku family, welcome back to Rev's Otaku Talk Studio Ghibli Fest. I'm your host Rev, and with me is my co-host K2.
Howdy, howdy.
This season we're diving deep into the whimsical, heartfelt worlds of Studio Ghibli, where fantasy meets faith and wonder points us back to the creator. Whether you're a lifelong Ghibli fan or just discovering these animated masterpieces, we're here to explore each story through the lens of Christian values. From the skies of Laputa to the forest of Totoro, we'll uncover powerful themes, spiritual insights, and the beauty of God's truth woven into every frame. So grab your favorite snack, open your heart, and get ready for a journey where faith and fandom soar together. This is your Christ Walk with Otaku Talk. Studio Ghibli Fest starts now. So in today's episode, we will be taking a walk down the road of the saddest Studio Ghibli film ever made. I'm talking about The Grave of the Fireflies. The Grave of the Fireflies is a heartbreaking 1988 Studio Ghibli film directed by Isao Takahata. That follows a story of two siblings, Sita and Setsuko, struggling to survive in Japan during the final months of World War II. After their mother dies in a bombing raid and their father is away serving in the Navy, the children are left to fend for themselves amid the chaos and devastation. With their home destroyed and their society collapsing around them, Sita takes on the responsibility of caring for his little sister, trying to shield her from the horrors of war as they search for food, shelter, and safety. As their situation grows more desperate, the siblings' bond becomes both their greatest comfort and their deepest tragedy. The film captures the innocence of childhood against a backdrop of unimaginable suffering, using the fleeting beauty of fireflies as a symbol of both hope and the fragility of life. Grave of the Fireflies is not just a war story. It's a powerful reflection on loss, love, and the human cost of conflict, reminding viewers of the silent casualties left in war's wake. K2, I know last week we discussed that you were a little excited about this one because it was a war movie.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
It's a very good period piece. It is. I thought it was going to go in a little bit different direction than what it went in, but I can see why they told the story they did.
Yeah, what really hit you the most on it?
Honestly, how desensitized the aunt was.
Yeah, I didn't like her too much.
Yeah.
She, at the beginning, you'd think, oh, she's the most friendly person ever.
Yep.
But then after she sold off all of her sister's things and got all their food that they had hid during the bombing, after she got everything she could out of them, then her real color shone through.
Yep.
I didn't like the aunt either. What part about this movie touched you the most?
Ooh, that touched me the most?
Yeah, what part hit the feels, man?
That's a hard one. I would have to say when he was caught stealing food.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was insanely tough. I have to say, for me, the part that kind of got me the most was whenever, because he was his sister's caretaker, and she was always, saying she was itchy or that she was hot or, she had ailments and problems and stuff like that. And he started taking care of her like we would take care of a extremely elderly, person in the family, where you got to sponge bathe them and stuff like that. The part that got me was whenever he took her shirt off to help her clean, and it was on her back. Yeah. And all you saw was rib cage and rash, and you saw lice, and that was for me, that was more the turning point.
Yeah, it was on him too.
Yeah, but you never really saw him.
No.
He always kept himself covered and everything, and he did that to protect his sister from
finding out
the poison that is what they're going through in war.
Yep.
And I mean, he pretty much took the daddy position.
Yep.
And I mean, what they said he was around 13,
14, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there.
And for him to take up that role and take up that responsibility, and the way he did it,
yeah,
that speaks multitudes.
Nope.
And honestly, I think that is, the culture back then. If you think about it, that's where Japan's still a little old school.
Yeah.
Is if the parents pass, the older siblings will take care
over.
of the children. And if the sibling's not old enough, then, they go to another family member until
they're old
they're
enough.
of age, and then they take over. I mean, that's not always the case, but there's still parts of the country that are like that. The eldest steps up, especially the male. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture, and I think that right there really speaks to, what we're going to be talking about tonight, because the way he approached taking care of her was everything.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you rate the movie?
I give it an 8.
Give it an 8?
Yeah.
I think I'm right there with you. I'd give it an 8 as well. I wouldn't take it any higher. I definitely would not take it any lower. On a parental level, it is a very
mature
movie. There was only one profane word in it, and on a Christian level, it's the word that we don't like. It's one GD, and it was, I understand the reason why it was done that way. Do I think it was necessary to the movie for just that one word to be in there? No, I don't. But from a critical film point of view, and taking, film critics classes and stuff like that, I understand why they stuck it in there. I just don't think it added anything to the movie, and I don't think it would take anything away from the movie if they got rid of one word. But that was the biggest thing. The rest of it, again, with Studio Ghibli films, it's very period correct.
Yeah.
And it's like watching My Neighbor Totoro.
Yep.
Whenever they were bathing, the brother bathed with his sister.
Yep.
I mean, again, we're talking about, okay, they've got to boil the water to make a bath. And with that aunt, he was the one doing the boiling. He was the one doing the carrying. He was the one doing the pouring.
Yep.
I mean, he was ample in taking care of his sister, making sure that she was well taken care of, bathed properly. And so you see that.
Yep.
Whenever they went swimming, they were in their underwear.
Yep.
And with the little girl, she's a toddler, it was like bloomers.
Yep.
It's like letting, our 1-year-old run around in a diaper. Doesn't happen very often, but
it happens.
She's at an age where, with family, if it's just me and mom, brother, sister, it's not that big of a deal. So it has that very accurate family home life feel to it, and how things would just normally be done.
Right.
It wasn't sugar-coated.
Nope.
It wasn't covered. It wasn't embellished. It wasn't anything. They stay point blank on the details whenever it comes to how things are, which is why, their movies are timeless. Because of the fact that they're one of the few studios that pay attention to detail, even for a children's movie.
Yep.
Which is pretty big. So I mean, that's really all for me from a parental point of view. Just make sure your kid's mature enough. Just know that there is that one word at the middle back end of the movie, and that the images and everything you're going to see. I mean, you do see the burned bodies after the bombing.
You do.
You see the scene where he has to cremate his own sister. And, back then, the family cremated them. They didn't take it somewhere. No. They did it.
Yep.
So you had to see the scene with that. You saw them throwing the dead bodies into the pit and burning them in a big joint grave. I mean, it shows a lot.
Yeah.
And we will get more into the purpose behind them doing that as we get further into the episode. But I mean, from a parental point, just make sure your kid's mature enough. Yeah. I would recommend that as a parent, watch it first.
Yeah.
That way you can gauge if your child is ready for it. And it's primarily because of the imagery of it.
Yeah.
Again, Christian standpoint, realistically, it's just that one word.
Yep.
I mean, I cringe every time I hear it. Again, it's not really necessary to be there, but unless you are very strict with what you watch, you probably watch more movies that has more of that in there than what this does. And yeah, we'll just leave that there.
Yep.
What I would like to talk about first, because like I said, I want to touch on two things. The first thing I want to talk about is how through the majority of the movie, and it's more the high point of the movie, how the strength that they had was based on the joy that they found.
Yeah.
In the Bible, if we look at James chapter 1, verses 3-4, it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything." And, this verse right here is talking about trials that you're going to go through as a Christian. But it also can speak to the trials that you're just going to go through in life alone. Because whenever people entered into what we now know as Christianity back then, they went into a whole different set of problems. And because they were being persecuted,
right?
They were being hunted. There's a lot of things that they went through, and the thing that they were pushing for was that you got to find your strength in the joy that you get out of out of being God's children, out of being God's chosen.
Yeah.
Because whenever Jesus died on the cross, we entered into that family. Whether we were Jewish or not, we entered into God's chosen family because he chose to do that for us so that we could enter into the kingdom with him. But if we look at the movie, whenever all of that stuff happened, right off the bat, after the first bombing, and the mother was in the hospital.
Yep.
You remember the scene where they're sitting at the sandbox and they have their rations, and the little sister starts to cry.
Yep.
What does the brother do?
He tries to distract her.
He tries to put a smile on her face. He starts flipping on the
bar.
The bar. And he's sitting there, laughing like he's having fun. You can tell that he's not.
No.
You can tell that he's torn apart. I mean, you look at the state of his mom, and he had to just go in
and look at that. That was hard.
And for a young teenager,
yes,
that's going to be traumatizing.
Oh, totally.
But he took the role,
Yep.
and he chose to take a path of joy, not really for him at that point,
Yeah.
but for his sister, who didn't have a full understanding of what was going on. And that just continued to escalate.
Yep.
Whenever they moved her to the hospital in the other town, and they moved in with the aunt, you know, he was the primary caregiver for her. He didn't put it on the aunt.
Nope.
He made sure that there were things that she would be happy with.
Yep.
If she had a rough night, he would carry her out into the field and they would watch the fireflies. And he would catch the fireflies and show her the fireflies. And she, you know, the wonder that he was showing this little girl, to her was everything.
Yeah.
And it, in a place of complete and total
chaos,
terror,
yeah,
he was able to give her joy, which helped her move forward.
Yep.
Even whenever they first moved out of the aunt's place, because the aunt was getting to the point where she was starving them.
Yep.
Was not all the food and everything that she got from selling all of their stuff. She was giving that to her own kids.
Yep.
And giving the kids scraps.
Yep.
And so they moved.
Yeah.
You know, Mama had money in the bank. That money in the bank is now his. You know, it's now theirs.
Yep.
So they start trying to do life on their own. And they start rationing themselves. And throughout all of that, they would find joy in pretending. They'd find joy in catching the frogs and finding acorns to make stews and all of this stuff. I mean, you know, she's afraid of the dark and she's having a hard time the first night that they're out on their own. They go out and they
catch fireflies.
A pot of fireflies, and they let them loose inside of the mosquito net, and it lights the whole entire place up.
Yep.
I mean, the sheer joy that it ended up bringing both of them and giving them the ability to continue to move on was amazing. And even hitting the hard points whenever you start seeing the little sister dying.
Yeah.
And you know that she is. From the doctor's appointment on, you can tell. And you can tell that he was panicking.
Yeah.
You can tell that the joy was fading out of him. But whenever he went to the bank and he pulled all the money out, he went and he bought food for her.
Yep.
He bought stuff that he knew would put a smile on her face because he wanted to keep that joy going for her. And, you know, that is the strength that carried them.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about how Ghibli has, you know, they are able to bring the story to such a realistic tone.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically we are seeing the stuff that they see.
Yep.
And to be able to find joy after seeing
all
of that, that to me speaks to the strength that those kids had. And the strength that they continue to have. And, I mean, I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And we can take that, mirror it back to our lives, both as Christians and as people who are just living. And we can sit there and harp on the negative.
Yep.
And whenever we harp on the negative, we feel unhealthy. We feel drugged down. We feel sick after a while. Our nerves are shot. If we dwell in that negativity, and Raver Mom has to catch me a lot, because with everything that we've gone through, I've gotten into that negative spot for long periods of time.
Yep, same.
And she has, you know, she's always had to sit there and point it out to me. You're so negative. You're bringing everything down. And I have to remember this.
Yeah.
If I can find a hint of joy in the midst of all of the garbage,
Yep.
just a hint, doesn't have to be anything huge,
No.
it can be something very small, then I can pull not only myself through the hard time,
Yep.
I can pull my family through the hard time and do it without causing pain.
But that's also a double-edged sword. Because, I mean, he's, bringing joy to himself and his sister.
Mm-hmm.
But at what cost?
And we saw the cost,
Yeah.
Especially in that
Yeah.
point. And I think that's where the gentleman was kind of right. Swallow your pride. Tell your aunt you're sorry.
Yep.
Get that girl taken care of. If he would have done that, they would have been fine.
Yep.
I mean, I understand that his sister was saying that she was hungry in the midst of all that. But she was also saying she was hungry whenever they were out on their own.
Yep.
That didn't change.
No.
The thing that changed was he went from a place that was cleanish
Yeah.
to a place that wasn't clean at all. And in his case, I can see that as a definite, double edge. And I think that's a lesson that we all need to learn.
Yeah.
And that's where common sense is our friend.
And again, the aunt, I think, was trying to push him in that direction.
Yeah.
But she didn't have any tact.
No, and
No.
the thing is she wouldn't have told them to leave.
No.
I mean, she would have put them in an orphanage before she did that.
Yep.
And then at that point, I could see them booking it.
Yeah.
But she was not trying to get rid of them. She was just being a not so nice person.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she wasn't trying to get rid of them, but she wasn't. I mean,
She wasn't helping anything either.
I think in her own way, she was trying to help while also benefiting herself.
Yeah.
Because again, she took half the food, half of everything they had, essentially.
Yeah. Which, in all reality, okay, I can see that as fair.
Yep.
Okay, she pointed out many times how he wasn't working, he
Yep.
wasn't going to school, he wasn't
that's what I
contributing
said.
in
Yep.
any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But
he was worried about his
is-
sister.
And he is doing what he can to assist you. You know that whenever his sister started crying because they were going to sell mommy's kimonos, that, he didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
You could tell the mood change through, the way they drew it and the way the actor portrayed it, that, he felt really bad about it. But he wanted to contribute the way that he could.
Yep.
And me personally, I think at that point, if they are paying you essentially to be there, like your food is coming because they are getting rid of their mother's belongings. They are getting rid of their belongings.
Yep.
They should eat just as good as you are.
Yep.
They should eat just as good as your kids who are grown adults and can do things themselves. Okay. Your kids are getting rations themselves. So it's not for lack of you guys eating.
Yeah.
You are wanting to do a one-sided feast.
Yep.
And
And also in the beginning, she would always say, "Oh, the naval officer is, all the Navy guys are getting, good benefits. All the families of the Navy officers."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of giving a little backhand slide there.
Yeah. And again, I can understand why he left, and I can see the double edge.
Yeah.
And again, true to our lives. If we don't use common sense within that,
Yep.
we can be stuck in the same predicament. Sometimes we don't find joy in our situation or the happiness because joy is long-term, happiness is short-term.
Yes.
At that point, they were looking at the happiness factor. They were not happy where they were at.
No.
And they took the easy way out.
Yep.
Sometimes the easy way out isn't the best way
No.
out.
It normally isn't.
Sometimes it's best to grit your teeth and persevere through
Yep.
it. And that goes back to the verse. Your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may mature and complete.
Yeah.
Okay, at that point, him leaving was an immature thing. Sometimes in situations that we're in, the
Yep.
immature answer is for us to leave. And I know I'm guilty of that.
Yep.
I think everybody at some point in their life is guilty about it. And some of us learned from it, some
Yeah.
of us didn't. And it's a tough road to travel.
Yeah.
But, that's where we have to really sit down,
Yeah.
go through everything. What is going to yield the best outcome?
Yep.
And, I think that story could have came out differently.
Yeah.
If
he swallowed his pride.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him and his sister both wouldn't have
Yep.
passed. So, I mean, it is a very dark way to show the wrong way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
They could have persevered in a bad situation. I mean, the whole situation was bad.
Yeah.
That situation was terrible.
Yeah.
You lose your mom.
Yep.
You lose your home. You go to a place where you're not wanted after the person
Yep.
strips you dry. And then you're coming to the end of the war and you find out your dad's ship sank.
Yep.
Now both of your parents are gone. And your sister's on the verge of death. And that day, your sister does pass.
Yep.
So, and that's it's something that I can't even
it's rough.
imagine going through.
No.
But for want of persevering through the garbage,
Yeah.
it could have made a world of difference.
Yeah.
One, he would have matured from it.
Yep.
It would have made him stronger. And it would have built him and his sister up
Yep.
physically in health. Not only that, especially at the end of the war, jobs and everything would start opening back up.
Yeah.
He would have been able to get a job. He would have been able to go back to school.
Yep.
Because all the kids were returning after the
war,
the surrender and everything. They could have just started life back up.
Yep.
They could have started accumulating money again.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have moved him and his sister out.
Yep.
You gotta persevere through the garbage, because the aunt is also going through all the garbage.
Yeah.
The aunt is also having to worry about her family along with now her sister's family.
Yep.
So I mean, you see all the chaos in there, and in the midst of the chaos, which would be our trials in life, it's where keeping a cool head is at.
Yep.
And if we look for that glitter of joy, which, we find in God as Christians, we find that glimmer of joy, it just helps us power through the rest of it.
Yep.
And that's where we build strength. It goes back to the, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where we were talking about how meekness is strength in silence.
Yep.
This is where your strength grows.
Yeah.
It grows in full-on silence. And we look to what the Bible says about the meek. Those people who build their strength in silence, they will inherit the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a strong person to put up with the garbage.
Yep.
And, this movie has tragedy in so many different ways and written all over it. But it comes down to, if he would have persevered in the first part, he wouldn't have had to have persevered through so much pain in the second part, and it wouldn't have ended the way it did.
Nope.
It's
sad.
It's what makes this movie so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, Sita and Setsuko, they face unimaginable hardship.
Yep.
Yet even in their darkest moments, they find glimpses of joy. They don't find a lot of it.
No.
Short glimpses.
Glimpses.
And they share it in laughter. They share it in the sparkle of fireflies. And they share it in the simple act of just being together. Their story reminds us that strength isn't just about surviving. It's about holding on to love and light when everything else fades away. When we take a look back at James chapter 1 verses 2 through 4, we got to remember that. We have to let our perseverance finish its work so that we can be made mature and complete, not lacking in anything. Like fireflies that shine brightest in the night, true joy and strength often appear in times of struggle. Through faith, endurance, and hope, we can find beauty even in our battles and let God's light guide us through the darkness. And that's the big thing.
Yeah.
They were living in a time of darkness.
Yep.
And it's whenever they let that darkness start to affect them that they started falling.
Yep.
And they had the opportunity to go back to the light.
They did.
And they did not. And they fell.
Yep.
Now there is a second part to this that I want to talk about.
All right.
And this is going to go more, it's not so much looking at the movie, it's looking outside of the movie.
Okay.
The director who made this, he made it to be shown in Japanese schools. And Miyazaki backed this movie all the way through. As a owner of Ghibli, you know, your producers, they have say so.
Yep.
But this movie was created to go into the schools so that the children did not forget what war did to the country.
Yeah.
And a war of that magnitude, what it did to tear the country apart, and how it affected its people, and how the people acted towards its own people. They don't want the next generation to basically, they don't want them to repeat the darkness.
Right.
And so they find it very important to continue sharing the story of what kids and people went through during that time. And it's a story that is done in such a way that it will continue to go down from generation to generation to generation. This will be a war classic.
Yeah.
And the comparison that I want to put it to is to how the Bible itself is a story that's passed down from generation to generation.
Okay.
And the importance of it. I mean, starting all the way from the beginning. Your historical books, your books of the law, your,
Yep.
everything in the Old Testament was not originally done in writing. They would have classes, primarily for the males.
Yep.
Where you would have a guy, you'd have your rabbi or
Yep.
whatever they called them back then, would tell the stories to the young males. And they would be raised in this. And they would learn not just what God was doing for their people, but the history of what God brought them through and the mistakes that they made to get into those predicaments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times did the Israelites go against God and then have to pay for it?
Yep.
And if they did not keep those stories, that history going, how many more times do you think that the Israelites would have repeated the same problem over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? It probably would have been nonstop because the Israelites ended up being a very proud people.
Mm-hmm.
But having that history is one way to keep them, one, humble.
Yep.
Two, they're not going to repeat the mistake.
Nope.
And 3, they're going to learn ways to get around it.
Yep.
They're going to learn ways to get through it properly. It's a historical instruction book on what to do and what not to do. You know, and it's such a big thing to keep your history going. It's not good to dwell on the past.
No.
It is not good at all to dwell in your own past, especially in the negative. But, you know, you don't forget your past.
Yep.
Remembering your past and looking back to it to not repeat a mistake and dwelling in your past are two completely different things. We are not to dwell on our past.
No.
We are not to allow our past to affect us like that. But we are to look to our past on what not to do and what to do.
Yep.
And we can also use our past is used as a testimony. And we can a lot of times use what we went through in the past to bring somebody else forward. This is how I got through a similar situation. Let me tell you my story of how God brought me through this. And maybe, just maybe, God can help you through where you're at.
Yep.
You know, your past can be a very powerful tool if used correctly.
Yep.
And our past as a people,
Yep.
as a country, you know, even our family's history, we can learn how to move forward from it.
Yep.
That's not dwelling in the past. At that point, you can pretty much call it wisdom.
Yep.
At that point, we have gained wisdom from what we went through in our past. And we can use that wisdom to overcome many other obstacles.
Yep.
And they came up with an acronym for the Bible way back in the day. I don't want to plaster a decade on it because it could have came from anywhere. But the acronym is Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth.
Okay.
It's all based on the fact of we are reading the history of God's people in the Old Testament.
Yep.
And everything that they went through. We are reading the choices that they made and how it positively or negatively affect them. And we can learn lessons from that just in the Old Testament alone.
Yeah.
We can learn how the old laws can still be relevant to today. It's not something that we have to stick to because God, Jesus fulfilled the law.
Yeah.
So a lot of these, especially the sacrificial stuff and junk like that, we don't have to do.
No.
The laws on cleanliness, we don't necessarily have to abide by those either. Though the laws of cleanliness, it's keeping your body as healthy as possible. It's keeping your body as clean as possible. I mean, there's a lot of good still from it if we were to follow along with some of the stuff that they did.
Yep.
So there's things that we can take from it that can better our lives. But if we ignore it, so we can make the same mistakes, then we're stupid. I will use Raver Mom's word there. Then you have the New Testament. We learn at that point, we learn a whole different set of lessons. We learn how to overcome extreme temptation. We learn how to use God's word to bring ourselves up from the darkness. We learn how to use God's word to, battle spiritually. We learn how God's word can help us in so many different ways, whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, all of it. There's something in there that can help bring you out of pretty much every situation. I don't know if I brought it up before on the podcast or not. I wrote a sermon a few years back called Tool Time and Makeup Divine.
Okay.
And it was looking at the Bible from two different perspectives, from a male perspective and a female perspective.
Okay.
On the male perspective is Tool Time, Tim Allen.
Yep.
Looking at the Bible as a toolbox, as a multi-tool.
Yep.
Oh, you're being tempted, you're lusting after something. How do you overcome it? Oh, flip to this verse. Oh, you are angry and you're about to do something stupid. Flip open to this verse. Oh, you're about to make the same mistake again.
Yeah.
Flip
There's a
open
verse
to
for
this
that.
verse. Oh, you're tempted by whatever. Oh, you want to strangle your boss.
Yep.
You want to, kick your mother-in-law to the curb. Whatever.
There's a verse for that.
There is a place for you in there to help guide you past the problem.
You know?
And then whenever it comes to the ladies, as guys, we're not so self-conscious about the way we look.
No.
I'm sorry. Even the guys who are in the gym constantly, pumping up, they are not that worried about their looks.
Nope.
It does not. We don't have to put makeup on to make ourselves look pretty. We don't have to worry about clothes not really fitting right, because it's not that hard for a guy to find something that fits properly. We don't have, we're not as shapely as a woman is. We don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Nope.
Now, a woman, on the other hand, they got to go through all that.
Yep.
They've got to go through the emotion. They've got to go through, doubting their self-image, doubting their beauty, and everything else that goes along with it. And that's why I did the Makeup Divine part. Look at it as a spiritual makeup kit.
Okay.
And, how should you dress? Oh, there's a verse for that. How should you, carry yourself out in public? Oh, there's something for that. What kind of guy should you marry? Mm-hmm. What kind of guy should you be looking for? There's a verse for that. Yes, I know it goes into the whole, women should, submit to their husband stuff, and that is not a very popular thing now. But, I'm sorry, if we go back to the toolbox side of it, guess what the husband's supposed to do?
Listen.
He's, in a roundabout way, also supposed to submit to his wife. But he does it in a different manner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Submissions on both sides.
Yes.
But if you didn't read didn't dig into your makeup kit, didn't dig into your toolbox, you're not going to know this stuff.
No.
And so the history and everything that has happened and everything that was written down to be carried throughout time in the Bible is just as important to have that to continue to move down.
Yeah.
And we as Christians should want it to continue to move forward, go on to the next generation, into the next generation, just like Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli approving for this movie to get made so that they can continue to share what happened in possibly the worst war ever.
Yeah.
Forbid we have another one.
Yep.
But they want to prepare their next generation on what not to do.
Yep.
Because you watch the movie, you brought up when he got arrested.
Yeah.
He was taking food from a farm.
Yep.
Okay? It wasn't a garden. It was a farm. And they were taking food from the edge of it. Now here in America, most farms, if it's at the edge of the farm, that's for public. That's for the homeless and the needy to pull.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. Most of your, citrus farms and stuff like that, if it is on a main road and there is a tree at the edge, a lot of the farms, if you go and you pick an orange or a bag of oranges from the edge of the farm, they will not stop you.
Really?
Because of the fact that that's their way for providing for the needy in the community.
Wow, I did not know that.
But if they go into the grove,
that's where
that's when you're going to have some problems. But a lot of them, they will put a row of trees or a row of their crops on the edge. for the needy to come and take what
Wow.
they need.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
been a tradition for a long time. Not all farms do
No,
it anymore.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But whenever I was growing up, that was a thing.
Wow.
You know, even the sugar cane fields.
Yeah.
My cousins would, go down south, go home to where, my family, lives, and they would come back with one random sugar cane that they cut from the edge of the field. And as long, the farmers don't care. Just as long as they don't go past a point.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not the way it is in Japan.
Nope.
Or maybe it was that way, but it's a time of war, and forget about it. I ain't helping you. I'm helping myself. Because the farmer wouldn't even sell them any food. He was hoarding the whole farm to himself. Which, I get it, but still, if you have the ability to help somebody, help them.
Yeah.
And what's bad is the kid was offering to pay him way more than what it was worth.
Yep.
So the kid, stole some fruit,
Yep.
stole some vegetables, stole some potatoes, and the guy beat the living snot out of him. He goes to the police department or whatever it is. Goes to the little guard shack because it was just a single room.
That's all. That's all it usually is.
And the police officer's like, "Well, you both told me everything that happened. Okay, so we can take from that the kid did not lie.
Yep.
He flat out told the truth." And then the police officer looks over at the guy and he goes, "Well, you can go home now." And the guy's like, "What? No punishment?" He looks at him and says, "Well, I can get you for
beating a minor.
For assaulting this guy.
Yeah.
I can put you in jail for beating him near, half to death over some potatoes."
Yep.
"Oh no, I'm out of here."
Yep.
Yeah, because it wasn't that big of a deal.
No.
In all reality,
Yep.
you're not starving. You're the fattest dude in the town, But if it ever happened again, the next generation's going to know how to react.
Yep.
They're going to know what to do. Because one of those kids could be the guy on the farm.
Yeah.
And instead of hogging everything, he can make sure that himself and his family's taken care of. And then he can ration the rest out to the town as needed.
Yep.
That farm in that small town could have saved lives. He could have been the savior of that town. But no. And they just don't want to see Japan go through that again.
Yep.
And if it ever did happen, they would want that generation to come together.
Yep.
Not split apart. And the same thing as Christians. We don't want the mistakes of the past to continue on to the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way for that to happen is for us to make sure the next generation has the tool to do it. And that's God's Word. And we just need to continue passing it on.
Yep.
Question. If you were stuck in a predicament like the two kids were, and you were at a crossroads like they were, where they could either suffer in comfort, so to speak, suffer in luxury, or suffer on their, basically on your own.
Yep.
What choice would you make and why?
Oof. I mean, that's hard. I mean, just from my experience and the way I know I would act, I would take the short-term gain.
So is that suffering and luxury, or just going it alone?
Yeah, it's suffering and luxury.
I think I'm right there with you. I mean, I do not like being under anybody.
Yeah.
I don't.
Though I think the wake-up call for me would have been at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have just left her there.
Well, you got to remember, the doctor didn't want to help. Are you talking about when he took her to the doctor? Or
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you got to remember, he was shrugging them off.
I think he was. Because he didn't know the situation. He didn't give it time.
Basically, the doctor wasn't listening.
Yeah.
I mean, I can...
But, I mean, if you leave somebody at a hospital, they're going to get care.
Yeah. I think for me, I would have chose to stay with the aunt. But I would have... I could see where she would get irritated.
Yeah.
Because you see Sita, he was always reading a manga or a magazine. He was always lounging around.
Yep.
He wouldn't wash his own dishes.
Nope.
I mean, he was a relatively lazy kid.
Yeah.
And I kind of get that because, his dad was a Navy man, and they get the best of everything. So he was probably raised a little bit more on the spoiled side.
Yep.
And that's just going off of what clues we had.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, knowing what the issue is, it's the issue of you aren't contributing.
Yep.
I would have found a way to contribute.
Yeah.
The aunt, at that point, it would have been a conversation.
Yep.
Because he is the eldest of the family at this point. He's the eldest male,
Yep.
which means that he speaks for them.
Yep.
So the whole thing would be, look, I don't mind contributing. I don't mind going out and finding a job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind doing stuff around the house. But if I am to do something outside of the house, you're going to have to take care of
my
Setsuko.
sister. Yeah.
You're going to have to take care of her. If you are not going to take care of her and I have to do it, well, then you literally just sealed the deal.
Yep.
I will help out around the house. I will take the load off of you there. And you can go out and get a job.
Yep.
And I will take care of my sister in the house. At least then I'm contributing. If it'd be like, okay, I'll watch your sister, you go get a job so we can have money coming in. So our rations can increase.
Yep.
So whatever. Okay, cool. And then I'd go out and contribute. Because I can almost guarantee that if he would have contributed even in the house, she probably wouldn't have been so abrasive.
No.
Because, I mean, at that point, you're a lazy kid. You're a lazy teenager.
I mean, you gotta also think he's grieving in his own way, too. He lost his mother.
True. I mean, that is completely true, and he was holding that secret for a while.
Yeah.
Because he snuck her ashes into the house and didn't tell anybody. And that was also an area where you saw the aunt's attitude shift.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't able to grieve her sister in a timely manner. She wasn't able to be there for the cremation or any type of memorial or service or anything. He did that without anybody knowing.
Yep.
Which at that point, okay. I get that you probably are feeling pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of things that I think decision-wise I would change.
Yeah.
Just so getting through it would have been a whole lot easier. So, fun question.
All right.
Have you ever went out hunting fireflies? I mean, they are harder to find now than what they used to be.
They are very hard to find.
But have you ever experienced that?
I think not catching them, but I do remember seeing them in the yard.
Okay, so you've experienced at least seeing
yes.
them. Yeah, living in the area that I grew up in, we saw them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Down toward Fort Myers, Florida, and the Everglades.
Oh yeah, you guys have no light pollution.
You see them quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've also experienced seeing them up north, in Illinois.
Yep.
in my aunt's backyard. We got to see them on the outskirts of Chicago, which was kind of funky.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of light pollution around.
Yeah.
But I've also experienced seeing, which I think to me was a little bit more of a rarity at the time, experience seeing them in Canada. We did a Gilligan's Island thing where we literally were on an island for a week.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this.
And during one of the warmer nights, I mean, the majority of the nights, it was in like the 30s, 20s, 30s, something like that. But during one of the warmer points, which was earlier on in the week, there were fireflies. So, I mean, I've experienced them in different ways.
Yep.
Of course, in Canada, the fireflies were the least of the things that you wanted to experience because there was zero light pollution. And you could see the bands of the Milky Way.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That was amazing. That was something to experience. But fireflies are a very magical thing to experience.
Yeah.
I was not the one that liked to squish them while they were glowing to see their guts glowing up my hand, and that wasn't my experience with them. But we did like to catch them in a jar and look at them, and now fireflies have become more and more and more scarce.
Yeah.
You don't see them as often as you used to.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's a cool thing to experience. Yeah. I think the only one of our kids that have experienced it is Kid Koopa.
Okay.
And who knows if he even remembers it. And he was very young whenever he got to see fireflies. But yeah, fireflies are cool.
Yep.
I like them. All right, guys. So I want to do something a little different. There are some things that we say on here that is specific to the otaku culture. Certain words that we say, and sometimes you will hear us give an explanation on what they are or a definition.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a fun little segment, we're going to go through a couple of the larger acronyms and words that we say and what they mean. And eventually, we will get through the largest of the words and what they mean, so that whenever you hear us say certain things, like whenever K2 talks about moe,
yep,
or we talk about AMVs, which is anime music videos, or even just otaku in general,
yep,
you will know exactly what we're talking about as time goes on. And funny enough, I have a book that we have basically written down all of these words and what they mean. That way we can, explain this to you guys in a way that you're going to understand. So, the first word that we're going to talk about is arc. What an arc is. Whenever we talk about long-winded animes,
yep,
and that's me putting it very respectfully, it's very long-term animes like you have Pokemon. Yep. They started going into arcs, and One Piece, they have arcs, and I believe Naruto,
yep,
they split
Naruto
that
has
into arcs,
yep,
and then Bleach was split
Bleach
into
has
arcs
arcs
after a
yep,
while. An arc is a long manga or anime series. Each section of the story is an arc. So basically, we will use One Piece as an example.
Yep.
You have the first arc,
yep,
which is the East Blue. That is where they are literally going through the East Blue, and they are, experiencing
yep,
everything that's there. Now, the East Blue is separated into even more arcs, and that's where it breaks it down into individual stories.
Yeah.
So that would be like the Arlong Park arc.
Yep.
And as you move on, the Skypiea arc and stuff like that. It's just different sections of the stories.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is a lot of animes, they will separate their arcs in special ways. Some just do it by location. They switch the story up, and you can just tell it's a shift in gear.
Yep.
You have animes like One Piece where they split their arcs up by
region.
By the theme song.
Yeah.
Their main arcs are separated by the theme song.
Okay.
The individual arcs, the smaller arcs within the big ones are not separated. But the main arcs are separated by a different theme.
Okay.
So that's basically it. You can look at a arc as we say we have.
I would say as like a big chapter.
Yes.
And
exactly.
then you split it into, chapter 0.5, 0.6 for however many arcs, many arcs there are in that.
And if you've been with One Piece since the beginning, at the beginning they didn't really call them arcs, especially here in America. They called them voyages.
Yeah.
So they would split them up into Voyage 1, Voyage 2, Voyage 3. But then down at the bottom, underneath the Voyage, you would see East Blue. You would see Skypiea. You would see Fishman Island. The titles of the voyages were there, except for now it's not a voyage in One Piece, it's the arcs.
Yep.
So that's what an arc is. Another word that we've said quite a bit is chibi. Chibi is an art style where the characters are drawn smaller, with less detail than their normal designs, and they are to emphasize the characters being silly or sarcastic, pretty much. It's the
more silly.
It's the silly, cute characters.
Yes.
It's whenever they get really tiny and their face gets very round and soft.
It's the Hello Kitty.
Exactly. That's a very close comparison to a chibi.
Yep.
Another example of a chibi in modern anime would be in Demon Slayer, whenever you would see
yes, the little like transition scenes or
the transition scenes where they're like chasing after each other. And then even whenever Nezuko, she goes really small, and then you got Zenitsu talking about how cute she is.
And then
chibi. She gets very round and it turns more cartoony than it does anime. That's chibi. So yeah, that's what that is there. I think we'll do another 2.
Okay.
Or 3. We'll do 5.
All right,
so
sounds
we'll do
good.
another 3 definitions on this one.
All right.
Fan service.
Oh, that's
fan service is one that the parents are going to want to know. Fan servicing is it is any content that fulfills the wishes of fans or their fantasies that are not necessary to the story. Pretty much.
It usually is a beach episode. I can leave it at that. It's not.
It's very shapely girls in a very revealing bikini.
Yes.
Or very built guys in a Speedo, and they accentuate the details of the character. Basically, they are massively sexualizing them.
Yes.
That is what fan service is. And
it's not the, what am I looking for here? It's not, it's not the rule, but that's what it usually is.
Yes.
There are exceptions to it where it's, like characters doing, something that is considered by the fandom their thing, or
the majority of the time fan service is basically putting a fantasy character into play and over sexualizing them. But there's other types of fan service, like with Initial D. The cars. Not so much the girls, but they really emphasize the cars and how they move and how, how different things work with the cars. And they talk about power ratios and how to make things happen. And, that is a fan service to car guys. So it's not always a over-sexualized thing. Sometimes it can be a little different, but the grand majority of the time,
it is.
It is that. So that's where you got to be a little mindful of the animes that you let your kids watch. Is if they are not of the age where that's appropriate, or if you just don't allow that in your house, then you need to know. So as time moves on, you know, whenever we do reviews, especially after we get out of Studio Ghibli, because Studio Ghibli doesn't really have fan service in it at all. But once we get back into the more mainstream animes and stuff like that, fan service may be something we talk about, especially in parental reviews. So now you know what fan service is. Do you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
Nope? Okay, cool. So let's do okay. Let's do moe.
Okay.
So this is a term that has a lot of meanings, and if you watch Lucky Star, they talk about all the meanings of moe. If you want to get into the culture a little bit more, Lucky Star is a good introduction. But moe,
it's essentially cute girls doing cute things.
Yes. It's a word that refers to a fan's feeling of affection or adoration towards a character. That is the basic version of moe. That's like the original definition. From there it goes on. Moe character is designed to elicit these feelings. Moe can mean cute, youthful, or innocent. I mean, it is our biggest moe anime that we have watched
Girls and Panzer.
done anything on is Girls and Panzer. The way, if you even just look up a picture of Girls and Panzer and you see the style of how the girls are drawn, they're very cute, they're very adorable, they look very innocent. That is a pure full-on definition of moe. Just look at a picture of the character.
Another good example of it is K-On!
Yeah, definitely. I mean, same style. You can also look at Toradora, which is more of a adult moe anime. And again, Lucky Star. Lucky Star is all moe. Another really popular one is Sailor Moon.
Is that moe?
Yeah, it's old school moe.
It's old school.
It's like 80s moe.
Yeah, it's 80s. Yeah.
That one I would say was more the beginning of mainstream moe.
Yeah.
As they recreated them, not so much. Your first generation Sailor Moon, definitely.
Okay.
Okay. Here's one. This is one that we don't use too much because it can be seen as a negative term. Some people take it as a positive term. And we are talking about the word weeb.
Oh.
Just a little bit of background on weeb. It originated with a manga, and the full word is weeaboo.
Yep.
Shortened, it's weeb. It's used in a negative way, or if it's used in a negative way, a weeb is a person that's usually not Japanese that is obsessed with manga, anime, and other Japanese culture, and they are into it to the point of being way socially awkward.
Yes.
Where you got like an otaku. Otaku, just side definition. Otaku is basically the word that they use for nerd.
Right.
Over in Japan. I do not consider myself a weeb. I'm not socially awkward at all, but I am big into anime, manga, and everything that goes along with it. But I'm not in that awkwardness.
Yep.
If I were massively awkward, then I'd be a weeb. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, usually your weebs were big into anime, and they would dye their hair freaky colors. It'd be like a technicolored emo or emo person.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't approach them at all.
I think
they were awkward.
I think they're still like that.
There are quite a bit that are probably like that. I've met some people who are around our age,
yeah,
who have said, when I was in high school, I was a weeb, and I just couldn't help but start laughing. They're like, "What are you laughing
Are they
at?"
wearing a fedora today?
Yeah, a little bit.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I started laughing, and they look at me like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like, "Was that a positive thing for you, or was that a negative for you? I mean, how was it?"
Yeah.
I was like, I have nothing against you.
Yeah.
I was like, but you're definitely not a weeb anymore if you're able to just come out and say I used to be a weeb, because you're not as socially awkward as what you were in the past. So that is a weeb. So I guess with the otaku thing, you've got a definition. You got a bonus word.
Yeah.
But that is our otaku definitions of the episode.
All right.
In closing, let us remember James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Consider it in pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be able to mature and complete, not lacking in anything. Let us pray. Father God, I thank you. I thank you for everything that you've given us. I thank you for your word and everything that it holds for us as we walk through this life. Father God, I thank you for your joy, the most pure joy that we can ever experience in our lives, and the strength that it can give us as we move on through our life. And God, I ask that you open our eyes to see you in the wonder and in the lessons and the beauty around us, even in the worlds created by artists and animators. Let our passion for anime draw us closer to you and your truth. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Rev's Otaku Talk Studio Ghibli Fest. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook at Rev's Otaku Talkers, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Rev's Otaku Talk. We'd love to hear from you, so drop a comment, leave a review, and share your favorite God and anime moments with the community. Also, check out Rev's Otaku Shop to grab some awesome merch, and don't miss out on a bag of Rev's Con Kohi coffee. The link is in the description below. Until next time, keep your anime collection strong and your faith stronger. See you later, guys.
Take care, all.
Keep it up. Listener mail and fan debates. We love the art the Lord creates. From Studio Ghibli to Naruto, God speaks in ways you didn't know. Stories rise like rising sun. We break them down one by one. Chew, this ain't just hype, it's revelation. Anime with holy inspiration. Otaku life with transformation. Faith and fandom, no limitation. It's Revs! Otaku talk! From J-Jo's post to Spirit Lead, we laugh, reflect, and plant that seed. It's Revs! Otaku talk! So hit that play, don't walk away. Let's geek and grow in Jesus' way. O-T-A-K-U, talking truth in all we do. Revs crew, rolling through. Faith meets fandom just for you.